Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. My name is Jason Knott, editor of CE Pro, and I am excited to have a sit-down Where's the fireside?
Where's it?
Yeah. We need the fireside chat with the global CEO and president of CEDIA, Daryl Friedman. Daryl, thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure to be with you.
Yep.
Glad to have this conversation.
So we wanted to kind of we did a state of the industry session earlier today, but now it's kind of a state of the association. Let's find out some of the initiatives that Daryl's working on, some of the things that are exciting him and what he's hearing from the membership and where things are going. And if we have any questions, we have a microphone up here. We're going to go through this pretty quickly, and there's a lot of ambient noise, so we'll do our best. But so Daryl, I just want to say from a personal impression, I feel like since you've taken the helm, there's a lot more energy behind the association. Now, whether or not that has anything to do with what you do, you should take credit for it. But I absolutely noticed that. So congratulations from that standpoint. I can see it's a palpable level of energy there.
Well, I would be happy to take credit for it. The reality is that there's been so much great things and so much great energy coming out of CEDIA for years, and maybe we haven't been telling the story as effectively as we should. And when I came in, I wanted the enthusiasm I saw of what the staff has done, what this board believes in. I wanted to tell that story with more enthusiasm. So that might be the energy you're feeling and seeing, and also the energy of being here at CEDIAExpo, and what a great show this is.
Okay, so just give everybody a sense of your background, where you came from, and what drew you to CEDIA. And by the way, you got to point the mic. It's a omnidirectional, so don't like this, like that.
Okay. Yeah, I've been working in the nonprofit industry my whole career, mostly in the music sector. But I was very aware of CEDIA because my last job was at the Grammy Awards organization. That's the Recording Academy. And people think of the Grammys as their academy as just that one night a year. But it was a year-round association for a membership that consisted of recording artists and songwriters, but also recording engineers. They're real technical people. And so I knew CEDIA because we had actually endorsed CEDIA's immersive audio educational programming. So when I came to, when someone approached me about this position, it was a really nice fit for me because I know CEDIA does so much more than just the audio side. But I had this associational background. I had some experience in the audio sector, and so the search committee, some of whom are here today, decided that I would be a good fit for this. And so I'm bringing kind of all of my nonprofit experience to CEDIA, and then learning everything I can about my gaps in knowledge, which is the rest of the integration world besides audio.
So you were somewhat familiar with CEDIA. What surprised you the most as you've gotten to know into this industry? What's been the most surprising thing?
About CEDIA or the industry? About
the industry. Yeah.
Okay, so I come from an industry that's pretty. The music industry is a tough business. It's a cutthroat business. It's very consolidated. It's not a friendly business. So when I went to explore the CEDIA community, and I spent the first 100 days literally traveling the world, talking to hundreds of integrators and manufacturers to kind of get a sense of what this community is. And I didn't know, what kind of spirit it had. And so what pleasantly surprised me is this is an incredibly collegial and collaborative community. You see that here at CEDIAExpo. I mean, competitors are, enjoying each other's company and sharing information and knowledge. And so I really was pleasantly surprised to see that, because that helps me determine what kind of mission and how we're going to provide value to that community. It's really not a community of what's in it for me. It's a community of what's in it for us. And CEDIA can then provide that what's in it for us value.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other industry that has a stronger entrepreneurial spirit than this one. All right, let's dig into some of the association initiatives that you got going on. You had some pillars, ACE, Advocacy, Connection, and Education acronym. Tell us about that.
Well, we were looking at what does CEDIA offer that, first of all, is important to this industry, but also that nobody else is doing or can do. And we, as a nonprofit trade association for this space, we have a unique role of service. So when we looked at everything that we were doing, it kind of came down to these three buckets, essentially, what we're calling our three pillars, our ACE, of advocacy, connection, and education. Advocacy means telling the story, championing this industry to everyone. That can be to designers and builders and architects. It can be to the homeowner. We want to do more of that. Make sure the homeowner understands what the integrator does. And it can be to governmental bodies. This morning we had hundreds of people coming to an advocacy town hall where we explain some of the important issues that are happening on the governmental side that can affect the business of everybody here. So advocacy is really about telling that story and championing this industry. Connection is really about what you're seeing here today. The expo, bringing people together. We have tech summits that operate around at local levels. We have online forums and communities. So it's really about bringing this community together worldwide. And education, of course, is training and upskilling everybody and making sure this industry is fully trained. And we have now the only globally recognized certifications in the smart home industry. The CIT and IST certifications are now globally recognized by those bodies. So that becomes the sort of framework for how we're looking at our mission, our strategic plan, and those become our pillars, our ACE.
So let's just kind of narrow in on the education element. Why is that so much more important? Or we see everybody's busy, everybody's slammed, but it's not always like that. Going to be like that. Is education like super important right now? Even though I think a lot of integrators are like, I don't need to do it right now, but that doesn't mean you're not going to need to do it 6 months or a year or 2 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is keeping up with skills, but also part of it is establishing that credibility with the end user. That could be the architect, the designer, or the homeowner. You want to be able to show them that we are an industry, just like design industry, just like an architect. We are a major industry. We have a certification, and you want to show that end user that you are trained and certified. But also in an era like we have now, when talent is in such short supply, and we're trying to find more people to come into the industry, we found that education can actually be a way to retain talent. When you're a business owner, if you're offering that sort of education to your employees, they'll stay with you. They'll become loyal with you. If you're paying for that education for them, or as a CEDIA member giving it to them as an employee, they're going to want to retain that employment so they can learn more and more skills. So we see it's important from so many aspects.
I think you might have told me this story about an integrator who said, well, I don't want to train my staff because then he might get trained and he'll leave. And your comment was, well, what would happen if you don't train him?
Right. And we found just the opposite. We found that education, when an employer, a business owner, is providing that education, it creates a different kind of bond with the employee, and they want to stay, and they become more loyal, and they want to take the next course and the next course. And of course, there's no end to the amount of education you can receive in this business.
All right, you touched on bringing new blood into the industry. Tell us about the workforce development initiatives at CEDIA.
Yeah, that's an really important initiative for us. And when I did travel and I listened to the community for those first 100 days, I knew it was important. I knew workforce development was key. I didn't realize the urgency and the priority. This really became the number one issue for everyone I talked to. Most associations, if you're the head of an association, you talk to your members, they tell you, what I need is more business. Help me get business. Get me leads. Get me business. What I was hearing in this community was, I have more business than I can handle. I need techs. I need people. I need people to come and be integrators. So CEDIA has been doing a lot of workforce development over the past many years. Actually, this week at CEDIAExpo, we're launching a new initiative, a three-pronged approach to a whole new level of workforce development that I think will bring a lot more people into the industry. One of those planks is going to be utilizing our tech summits. We're in local communities all over the country all year round with these tech summits, but we haven't utilized them as a workforce, as sort of a career fair, for lack of a better word. When we're in those communities, we're going to connect with those schools, connect with those trade institutions, bring them in, let them see what an exciting industry this is, and really kind of build up that way. We'll also be announcing a toolkit for all of you, all the integrators. You'll have a toolkit that you can use that will give you everything you need to attract talent, from a presentation you can play to a video that shows the excitement of the industry to talking points. Whatever you need, it's going to be part of this toolkit. And the big news, I think, is that we're really excited about is we're beginning a new category, a new student affiliation. So a student can now be a member, affiliate with CEDIA, have access to all of the education on our learning management system, and for free, understand how important this can be and how important a career move it can be for them. So through these 3 new activities, I think we're going to really help the industry bring more people into the workforce.
Yeah, I know when I was at the New Jersey Tech Summit and there were some students there, you could just see they were so excited to see some of the products there, and if they were here, they'd be like kids in a candy store. So I think just that technology element really can help drag a lot of people. They just got to know we're here.
We got to tell the story. I mean, this is such an exciting, first of all, it's an exciting industry, and then you look at the time we're in. I mean, think about the last 3 years. After the pandemic, everybody you know was kind of rethinking their lives and what do I want to do with my life and what do I want to do with my career and how do I want to do something more meaningful? And that whole perception has changed. At the same time, what we offer is a chance to be in an industry that's lucrative, that has jobs available, and guess what? You can go into people's homes and make their lives better. I mean, that is an incredible story to tell, and we'll have a video that's going to be very much geared toward that sector, that audience demographic, that will explain how exciting a move could be for them if they want to join us.
All right, just a couple other quick questions. I think every association, with maybe the exception of the American Trucking Association, doesn't have high membership levels in terms of percentage of the number of people. There's just apathy. And in general, you find that in associations across all industries. You've got a new board, a unique group board I mentioned is bringing that higher energy level. What are you doing and what is the board doing to help kind of fight that apathetic nature?
Well, it goes back to the first question you mentioned, which is kind of what surprised me, and my answer was that this is a community that wants to raise the bar. It's in what's in it for us community, not a what's in it for me community. So I think by us telling the better story about what CEDIA is doing for all of us, people will be drawn to us. So for example, when you know that we're fighting for your ability to stay in business because a state regulator might say you can't pull a low voltage cable anymore unless you have an electrician's license, we're fighting for that. You don't have to be a member to benefit from that. We're going to do it regardless. But I know this community wants to support that greater good, so they're going to be drawn to us. Same with certification, same with education. So I think what we want to become is a beacon for this industry. If you're in the CEDIA channel, you should be a CEDIA member. And so we hope that we'll be drawn to come and be part of this. And I think that we're already seeing that a little bit in the last few months.
So how can an integrator get involved in CEDIA? What should they do?
Well, if you're here at CEDIAExpo, go to the booth. You can get a lot of information about how to join. You can actually sign up for the legislative action system just by scanning the QR code at the booth. You'll be immediately connected to your specific state and federal legislators, and you can send them a message, pre-populated. It takes 2 minutes, and you will have a connection with your elected official. Talk to the members. My professional staff at the booth are all skilled at this. And then stay involved. If you're not here at Expo and you're watching this later, go to CEDIA.net and learn about the various programs that we have to offer. But mainly be part of the community and becoming part of the CEDIA channel means becoming a CEDIA member. And we really want everybody to be a member. It should be like the Bar Association. I mean, you can't practice law without being in the bar, and you shouldn't be in the CEDIA channel unless you're a member of CEDIA.
And I don't think it's just a feel-good sense. People who are actively involved in the association, there's a real bottom line benefit in terms of knowledge, the operational expertise, that sort of information sharing that's taking place amongst the membership, who end up being, once you get involved, it's much more close-knit. So it's a tangible thing, not just, hey, join us because we're good people.
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, I think there are very tangible benefits. The membership, usually people find it pays for themselves just on the access to the education they have, and of course discounts and things like that. But I think there's also this relational benefit that you're part of a community, you're part of this tribe, and if you talk to CEDIA members, they'll tell you, like, this is a family, this is a community. People have been like blood brothers and sisters as part of the CEDIA membership. So it really is I've been involved in so many associations. I just can't speak highly enough of CEDIA and what it can offer to a member.
All right. I really thank you for joining me in the fireside chat. No fire, but we came close. But if anybody has any questions, please feel free. If not, Daryl, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on everything so far. Let's keep it that same momentum going. I think from the energy level and all the activities that the association's got going.
Thanks so much for having me, and such a great show to have here. So I think we're all going to be in for a couple of great more days. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, everybody. Round of applause for Daryl.